Can I throw a suggestion out there for a themed event?
Of course.
You mentioned Ankit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love that guy. 7-Eleven owner.
Yes.
Indian party, Bollywood party in the 7-Eleven.
In the 7-Eleven.
How fucking lit would that be?
That's like boiler room.
Yes, exactly.
Boiler room 7-Eleven.
Yes.
And the party is from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m.
No, 11 a.m.
11 a.m.
Because there's no
There's
cat.
24
You
hours.
don't have to close that.
Well, all right. Battle raps cause I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, cause the ice on which they skating is so thin.
Welcome back to the Party with Strategy podcast. A couple special guests here with me. Brown boys are in the building. The infamous Indians. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't tell my girl that you guys were coming on the pod. And last night, she made Indian food for me.
Oh,
so
shit.
it's destiny. She made homemade naan, little vegetable dal, some chicken, white rice. It's destiny.
What'd you think?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love Indian food.
Flavor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Flavor town.
Right there.
Big flavor town. But yeah, thank you guys for coming. Mr. Shaw, Sean Tucker, welcome.
Thank you for having us, bro.
Man.
How you guys feeling?
Good, man. You know, slow season right now, but it's busy, right?
It's busy. It's slow, but it's busy at the same time.
Well, it's busy for you guys because you got an entertainment company. These nightclubs are not too busy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of both, right? Like, I think during the slow season, things have changed so much, I think, in the industry. So it's like kind of also figuring out like what's happening. Venues are shutting down. Places are kind of necessarily changing what they want to do. So for us, it's kind of also seeing what's happening because I think for the spring and the summer, at least for this year, it's definitely going to be a bit different. But yeah, from the Hollybolly standpoint, it's just nonstop.
Yeah. You guys are rich. You came in here with the chains. This guy's got the iced out Apple Watch, the Gucci hat. I like it. That Indian wedding money, dog. Come on, man.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's there. Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Hollybolly. You know, it came at the right time because we feel like me and him both, we kind of sensed the industry downfall. And that was one of the reasons why we started this company.
When did you start?
Well, technically we started in 2019, but I think with the pandemic, everything kind of got pushed back. But
we launched it December of 2019, and then the pandemic hit that March.
Yeah.
So,
but it was kind of a blessing in disguise because I think we were kind of the new kids on the block, right? But then everything kind of just went to a halt. So for us, we were kind of able to really step foot and kind of just take it little by little and get a good understanding. But I think it worked out perfectly, like you said.
Yeah.
So if you started in 2019 and you said that you started because you sensed the downfall in the industry, that's, I mean, 5 years ago almost at this point. I mean, December. So coming up on 5 years in a couple months. Well, about 11, but I digress. What did you sense in it? What was the sensing of the downfall of the industry back in 2019?
Yeah. So, you know, I was getting older. He's a year younger than I am. And so I guess I was getting to the point where I really wanted to know what was next for me back then. And we were always in conversation about how long we're going to be in this industry collecting check to check. Now, he had a 9-to-5. I did not. I was full-time. And so I was thinking about it a little more than he was, but we did have that conversation of what is next and what is the move, and this was it. And so then when it came to Chicago industry, everything was open back in 2018-19. But there was a demographic shift in it was like the peak of Chicago nightlife. And with any peak, there was always a little recession, right?
Okay.
And I feel like 2018-19 was like the best, maybe 17 going back, 17 to 19. Those were like peak industry years. And you always thought, does it get better?
Yeah.
than this.
I think the peak was like All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
Because that was like right before the pandemic. And like that's where like everyone is out. We had celebrities out, and all the Chicago DJs were representing almost every single venue. So like going up to there and then hitting pandemic, like it definitely was something that we saw that, okay, this could potentially be that peak. But then something I think is going to definitely shift in that scenario.
Like we would get drunk. We would get drunk, and then at the end of the night, just look at each other and say, does it get any better than this?
Mm-hmm.
And when we started saying that over and over again, we were like, man, this is going to be scary when it's not like this anymore.
Yeah. A lot of late nights at Griddle talking about
and
this.
Then March came, and we literally were like, holy shit, dude. Like, this is crazy. We just spoke about this like month after month in like previous months, which was crazy. So.
And when we started talking about like Hollybolly and the whole entertainment company, we were still kind of young and trying to figure out like, okay, like how do we kind of gonna go about it? And I think the pandemic was nice because we're like, okay, this might be a good opportunity for us to kind of just figure it out now, because no nightclubs, no weddings. So this kind of allowed us to really kind of set foot, like whenever this is going to be done, we can kind of hit it hard and really start building the company as a whole. And I think 2021 is when things started opening up, and, you know, people were scrambling to get married. And I think at that point, we just got a big influx and we kind of just took it off from there. And I think that kind of set the standpoint of us kind of just building and kind of being at where we're at now.
Word.
When you guys were having conversations about how long or what you want to do after nightclub DJing, was it more so like, how long are we going to last in this industry, or how long do we want to be in this industry? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, am I going to age out, or am I going to want to get out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And DJ burnout is a thing, right?
Yeah.
And so like, you know, I think for us, it was more so we love doing nightclub stuff. It's fun and it keeps us young. But at the same time, making sure that we're financially good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a bigger question. And so it was kind of like, I think it was more so a want to get into the private scene. And now that I look back on it, I think it's a necessity now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think everybody needs a secondary income. And it's super important. So now, like, I tell him that I don't think I would ever go back to not doing private events. And those like Indian private events. We always knew the money was there, but I think for us, we kind of just took our expertise in the nightlife scene, making some really awesome connections, and then applying all of that into our private sector, where things have been awesome, man. So,
and I think we had an advantage compared to some of the other like entertainment companies that are in the South Asian scene, is because everyone who's getting married, they were our age, right? Like we were like 26 or 27 when we started Hollybolly.
Yep.
And everyone that was getting married, they either they grew up with us like in high school or college and heard us in the scene when we were still young, or they saw us DJ at nightclubs, right? Whether it's Fremont, Tunnel, Joy District, I know Bottle Blonde, like we saw a bunch of Indians there, and then Late Night at Concrete Cowboy. So it's like people saw us, and that kind of gave us a little bit of that advantage of, okay, now people are slowly getting married. They saw us and they're like, hey, like he's dope. Yo, we want Shaw and we want Sean Tucker. Let's definitely see if they can do our big day. So I think that kind of also gave us a push on top of the pandemic and kind of having that restart.
You guys keep talking about how old you are, and I don't see a gray hair anywhere on that goddamn couch. How old are you?
That's the beauty of the industry, dude, is like you'll never, we could swear on this?
Yeah.
You'll never fucking know. And it's like, you know, it's, I'm circa 92. So
yeah,
I'm a 92 baby.
93.
Okay.
If you're not good at math, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. You got a couple more years before the grays start coming in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got you. Or you just got a subscription to Just for Men. I don't know. You know, the beard dye.
Yeah, the beard dye.
Yeah,
The beard dye. I don't need the beard dye. I barely grow facial hair. So.
Yeah. That's good though. I mean, I got to imagine you guys were probably always had the opportunity ever since you started DJing to do like Indian events and stuff like that, just because that's part of your culture, and those are all the people you know, your family, friends from growing up and all that shit. And you were probably like, nah, fuck that, I want to be a nightclub DJ. Because it was the same for me, not necessarily Indian events, but you know, people are like, oh, you should do weddings and shit. I'm like, fuck weddings. I'm not a fucking wedding DJ. I'm a nightclub DJ. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, just the whole DJ thing in a whole in the Indian community is like frowned upon, you know? And so like when I told my parents that this is what I wanted to do, it was like all hell broke loose in the house, man. Like, my mom like didn't eat for a couple of days, and like, you know, it was like it got crazy. So yeah, I mean, it's just the Indian stereotype, you know, like become a lawyer, become a doctor or some shit like that. And I went completely left. But you know, they're starting to see things kind of pay off. Follow your dreams, kids.
Yeah, you're getting that lawyer money behind a set of turntables.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's definitely a good
exactly.
way to put it. Yeah.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my best friends is Indian, and he's a lawyer. He became a lawyer.
Nice.
To make his parents proud.
Was that the Indian wedding that you went to?
No, that's my other good friend, Samir.
How was that?
He was my neighbor growing up. It was amazing, bro. That was the first one I went to. The food was the best food I've ever had at a wedding. It was 3 days, right? 2 days, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Just extravagant, big, and it was so much fun and just a fucking crazy celebration.
Nice. Yeah, that's usually how it goes. You know, a couple of day celebration, a DJ for every event. And yeah, like a little more intricate than like a Caucasian wedding or a mixed wedding, but definitely out there in your face for sure.
Oh yeah. Budgets are definitely higher. I think the average is 130, 140K a wedding.
Yeah.
At least for Indians. Like, so they definitely want to kind of like put out there and kind of like represent like, yo, like this is who we are. This is our culture. And we're just here to fucking party and drink.
Yeah.
The amount of like Hennessy that we've drank at like receptions is like unreal.
I mean, this man rode around the resort on a horse.
That's all. That's all part of it. I guess it stems from back in the day. You know, if you didn't throw a big wedding, you were considered poor.
You got to flex a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. The whole flexing is still a thing today, where like families, even if they don't have it, they'll find ways and means to get it, and to spend it. Yeah, especially if you have a daughter, like you're balling out. You know, so. Yeah, man, it's been fun. It's been an enjoyable ride. We're booked out for this year. We have 38 weddings this year. We're ready to go, man. It's gonna be, once April hits, it's gonna be a ride. But Hollybolly Unlimited, we're ready to go, baby.
Hell yeah. Are you guys all around the country too, or is it mostly Chicago, Midwest?
It's mainly Chicago, but we have events like throughout the states as well. I know we have one in Atlanta, one in Dallas, and then even out of country too. We have one in Cancun, and then in June we have Bulgaria. It's a half Bulgarian, half Hispanic wedding. So they're literally flying us out there for like a week, and we're pretty much just doing a full event over there. And then just flying back. So
that's dope. So that one's not even an Indian wedding.
Nah, like, so here's the thing. Being in the nightlife scene gave us a big advantage, because before we didn't want to be considered Indian DJs, right? But now that we think about it, it's like being in the nightlife scene, being South Asian, we kind of get that balance of what people want to hear, not just from an Indian standpoint, but from all sorts of different ethnicities, right? Because there's been plenty of times where we'll play certain types of genres, and at this point we feel very comfortable doing that, whether it's reggaeton, whether it's hip hop, top 40, like we'll even sprinkle in like Bollywood. And because of the nightlife scene, we feel comfortable kind of going in any type of direction, right? So we do a lot of events that are not just Indian, right? Our first actually Hollybolly wedding, I think it was half Hispanic, half Indian. So for us, like we feel quite comfortable kind of going in that direction where it's not just Indians. We can kind of go in whichever scene, because as a DJ, you got to be ready for anything at that point.
Hell yeah. That's great. So what are the next dates you guys got coming up in the clubs? You working this weekend?
Yeah, I was at Tunnel last night, and then on Friday it was my first time at Bodega in West Loop.
I like that spot.
And man, I had a blast, dude. Like small, intimate room. It was just a good way to connect with everybody. So that was my weekend.
Yeah, I closed out Rock Bar on Friday, and then Saturday I actually took a night off. One Saturday or one Friday a month, I just take some time off just to kind of see how the industry is, right? Because even every single month, there's either a different venue that's shutting down or there's a new promoter taking over a nightclub. So it's never going to be the same thing that you're doing last month. So kind of took that time to kind of just see where everything is. I'm checking out some venues, like West Loop's popping now. So it's like,
cracking.
You know, you got to go there and just see like, okay, like who's playing where, well, who's like kind of like the main people there, kind of, you know, just network in that sense. But I think for this upcoming weekend, I'm at Feds in West Loop, and then Saturday I'm at Tunnel. Where are you at?
I don't know where I'm at, to be quite honest with you. I'd probably have to check that calendar. I think I'm at Soundbar on Saturday. But yeah, man, just like, you know, what's nice is I don't have a stacked schedule like I used to. That's the difference. I think after the pandemic, I was able to pick and choose where I wanted to be. And that was really, really nice. Before, I kind of felt like I had to stack my lineup up 6-9 gigs a week. And I'm just comfortable now. Yeah, I'm comfortable where I'm at. I feel like I could pick and choose where I want to play. So, yeah, those are some future dates coming up. I mean, out of town shit. I'm with an agency, so they put me in a couple of cities, which is nice. Yeah, man, that's what it's looking like.
That's dope. Shouts to Conflict.
Yes.
Right? My favorite DJ agency.
Yep.
Is what it is, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I saw him on the Road podcast talking about building out that entire platform and like his vision of what he wanted to do. And it sounded dope. You got any information, any new news, any forward movement on that at all?
I mean, he is, you know, a really well thought out guy. And, you know, I've known him for, I want to say like 10 years. And when he brought this idea to me, it wasn't just the agency, it was the agency as a part one. And then there is a part two of like maybe a record pool or maybe a collective of thousands of DJs that could post their open dates on a website. And then whoever is a part of that platform would get notifications if you're in that city to pick that date up. So, you know, we're 6 guys from different markets in the nation, and we just get placed, you know, obviously our own cities that we're playing in, but then venues that lock us in for, you know, a monthly residency or a bi-monthly. We go in and rock those venues, but all of those guys are super dope, man. Shout out my favorite DJ agency.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you at this weekend, by the way?
Where are you at this weekend?
Friday, I'm doing Liquor Box late night, 2 to 4. It's my only residency that I hold since I've been back. And Saturday, I think I'm at Joy District, and that's it. I came back and I wanted to DJ so much less, bro. In Houston, I burned it out. DJing at the strip club twice a week, DJing 5-6 nights a week, just fucking grinding it out, trying to collect all the money. And it just got horrible. Like I was never looking forward to going to work, which was not a feeling that I really ever had before.
Wow.
So I wanted to come back here and only have a couple good paying gigs where they wanted me there, and we were working together, and it was like good, you know, energy. And it was cool at first, and then this slow season hit, and like shit's slow, bro, and other shit's closing down, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit. I was like, oh damn, like I can't just coast off this couple gigs and think that I'm gonna be all right. I really gotta set some shit up and try and build a little pipeline up for the future. So I've been talking to some other places about doing some gigs. I'm trying to work like 3-4 nights a week max, but 3 would be the sweet spot.
3 sweet spot.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. I think one thing on that though is like back in 2018 or 19 when we were talking about being at the peak, right now we're at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
And you know, it could only stay down here for so long. So there's going to be a moment in time where people are going to have to start talking about the rise of the industry again, you know? And that's on its way. So, you know, things are closing down, but there's going to be a moment where things are going to pick back up. And that could be as early as like March, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, the summer's coming. March is, you know, St. Patty's Day is always that marker of when it turns back from winter heading into summer. Excitement is bubbling again. People are going back out. But as far as like the industry itself, what do you think's next? You know what I mean? Like we saw the rise of the Hefes and the bottled blondes, the hybrids, the spots where they serve food during the day and then turn the nightclub lights on at night. Sort of prior to that was nightclubs, real nightclubs, underground. You can't get in ever. That was the cool thing. Those hybrid spots kind of shut that down, let everybody in. We want everybody's money. What do you think's next?
I think concepts. Like there's going to be a different concept for sure. Because no matter what industry you look at, there's highs and lows, and there's always going to be a rebuild, right? Even if you look at it, for example, any type of nightclub that closes down due to whatever reason, they try to do a rebrand and a rebuild, and they kind of go from there. So places, for example, like I know I mentioned earlier, like West Loop, like there's so many different venues that are popping by. Like even if you go into a specific venue, like John Boy, we went in like a couple days ago and it was like slammed. I'm like, dude, it's only 9:15. Right. So it's like these new concepts and these like rebuilds are kind of just becoming this whole different thing. And I think every 5-10 years, that's kind of the thing. Because even when we were in college, going to like Hefe and going to some of these like new different places, it was kind of this new thing. Like we were like, oh snap, like this is very different than like what the mid was, or this was very different than what underground is, right? It's more of a bar scene, but it's kind of like a nightclub. So I think every 5-10 years, things kind of phase out. And I think that's kind of like a new thing that's coming, whether it's the new concepts, I know like what Paulie and Carmen were talking about with like the food involved and all that type of stuff, or just, you know, change of venue, change of location. But I think there's kind of like this whole rebuild of how the industry as a whole is going to be. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing.
Yeah. And like, TikTok was such a fucked up thing because I think what it ended up doing is it really like put people's attention span at the bare minimum. Right. And so now, like when we used to go to nightclubs back in like 15 to 19, we would enjoy being there, and we had the patience to listen to DJ sets and take every part of that night and kind of let it marinate. But now I feel like TikTok really made everybody's attention span so low that new venues that come up, they need to be doing something every half hour, right? And whether that be like John Boy, where, you know, I mean, an amazing concept that's working. The music is completely different. And then they're like passing out pizzas and like just this like weird shit that you really don't get to see anywhere else. And it's an intimate spot. Like there's nowhere else for you to go but to be in the middle of everything. And so I just think the future of nightlife is really going to be in those curated parties, like he was saying, where there's always some shit happening. And it just, that goes along with people's attention span now. Like people need things to constantly happen, whether that's a bottle coming out, a pizza being handed to you, somebody giving you a shot, the music changing. So yeah, man, curated nights. And I think that's where we kind of hop into like Bollywood nights, you know, and, you know, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, man. I mean, when we look in the industry, right, there was a lot of cultural parties too, right? You have like Kid Clay, Sigma Chris, you have Protege, you know, they're representing their culture, V5 and all the Latin parties. We never really had one for South Asians, right? So I think when me and him were talking, we're like, all right, we are doing the whole private sector, we're doing the whole weddings and stuff, but why don't we ever do shit in the nightlife industry? There are a few Bollywood parties here and there, but they're for, you know, a different set of people. They're a little bit older. They've kind of people that came and like were in the college in the 90s and they're like now in their 40s or 50s, they kind of wanted to have their own spot. I was like, for us, we never really did something. So we're like, why don't we just fucking do it? So, you know, we took a chance. Well, it was end of 2022. It was like Black Friday, I think. We talked to Lago and Tunnel, and they gave us an opportunity, and we sold out.
Yeah, we had 680 heads in there with 90 people who didn't get in.
Yeah.
And that's when we were like, we have something. There's something here that we could curate a party of our own to a demographic that does not have a space in the industry right now. They never really had a space in the industry. So for them, you know, Indian folks, for them, it's 2015 of nightlife. Right. So for them, it's like when we throw a party or they see a flyer of ours, for them, they're going to that bitch like they're going to Bottle Blonde on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, and for us, that I think that's when we realized like, all right, maybe there's something here that we could push for the future. And last year we did 12 Bollywood parties once a month. And this year we're going to switch the format up a little bit, but I think we're going to do the same amount. So,
and it's all about that rebrand, right? Because we had a great year last year, but we're also noticing that there are other people that are, I wouldn't say they're trying to mimic it, but they see the opportunity. So for us, it's a big city. Chicago in itself has a huge South Asian population. So it's like, yeah, if you want to throw a party, like go for it, like represent the culture. But I think in order to stay significant, we're like thinking like, okay, it's kind of very similar to the industry where it's, you kind of have to rebrand it. You kind of have to revamp it, create a concept that is like very, very different. And I think that's kind of where we're at. We're like, okay, let's do something a little bit more unique. I think we kind of have that opportunity, that we have the connections in the industry. We have the creative process, and our style of DJing is very different. I don't think there's that many other South Asian DJs in the industry. You, me, Ram B, Ankit, J-Con.
Yeah, there are a couple guys that are good at what they do, you know. But I really think it's just all about how deep you go in the industry. And I think for that conversation of how involved both me and him are, I think we're a little bit more involved than some of the other guys.
Can I throw a suggestion out there for a themed event?
Of course.
You mentioned Ankit.
Yeah.
Love that guy. I haven't seen him in a minute.
Yeah.
7-Eleven owner.
Yes.
Indian party, Bollywood party in the 7-Eleven.
In the 7-Eleven.
How fucking lit would that be?
That's like boiler room.
Yes, exactly.
Boiler Room 7-Eleven.
Yes.
And the party is from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m.
No, 11 a.m.
11 a.m.
Because there's no
There's
cap.
24
You
hours.
don't have to close at.
Yeah.
24
At 2
hours.
a.m.
24 hours. Might as well take full advantage of that.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
There's something
Bro.
brewing there.
Uh-huh.
I'm in. I'm there. There's nothing I like more than spending my time inside of a convenience store.
Oh God.
Off a little edible, you know what I'm saying? Perusing the aisles, looking for snacks. Yo, the social media, the content that could come out of something like that
would go crazy.
Oh yeah.
is endless.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just something that popped into my head. But how did you reach? You sold out the first party that you threw at Tunnel, which, by the way, no hate, but I was booked for that Friday night at Tunnel.
Were you really?
I was booked for that Friday night at
shit.
Tunnel. Coming back, my once a month coming back here from Houston.
Oh man.
Lago fucking sent me downstairs to Treehouse.
Oh
Oh
man.
god.
And that was the last time that I ever fucking DJ'd at that building, because I'll never DJ at Treehouse ever again in my life. Just a side note. I thought it was a funny story. But how did you reach 700 people to sell that out? You know what I'm saying? What was your marketing strategy?
Yeah, so a couple of things. Number one, there wasn't anything of that sort of thing happening. Maybe in smaller nightclubs, but a size like Upstairs Tunnel, like that's a pretty
It's a huge room.
Mhm.
that's a pretty big room. So there wasn't really anything happening in a size like that. So I think that really caught the attention of some new club goers that wanted to experience that.
Mhm.
Yeah, but how did you reach them? How did they even see that was happening?
Yep. And then part two to that is paid ads, man.
Mhm.
Paid ads. And like, it wasn't really, we did some groundwork, like
Mhm.
some ground promotion, flyer handouts and things like that. But for most of it, it was just paid ads. So we didn't really know who was going to come.
Mhm.
We just knew that that flyer was going to a certain demographic of people, not only in Chicago, but every suburb 30 miles from here,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and college campuses. And we just
Mhm.
kind of picked our locations, and that's kind of where
Yeah.
it did it.
It was
So,
weird though, because we also had people coming in from like out of state.
Yeah.
We had someone who couldn't get in. He was pissed. He's like, dude, I drove in from Kansas City. And I'm like, you drove from Kansas City for a Bollywood night? He's
That's
like, yeah,
crazy.
because we don't have something like that here. But I think also the big thing is how we promoted it too, because this was like right after Diwali, right? Like the Indian Festival of Lights. It's all another reason to celebrate. And I think
Wait, what is that? What is that?
Diwali is like the Festival of Light. It's kind of like an Indian New Year, but not the Indian New Year. It's kind of like the holiday for Indians and for Hindus.
It's like the Indian Christmas.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
When is that?
It's usually around October, November
Yeah.
time. It's not like a set date like
Mm.
Christmas, but it's within that 3-4 weeks. So around that time, everyone's celebrating, everyone's partying. So I think it was also something where like, hey, this could be a great time for us to throw our first party, because people are on the high of Diwali. Like people want to celebrate, people want to be with their friends and family and go out and have a good time and listen to good music. So I think with the combination of just people knowing who we are, people knowing that they want to listen to Bollywood music, Diwali itself, and the paid ads, I think it really came out to what you said, 680, right? Around that. And we sold tables too. So I think it really came together and it really gave us that first successful night. And I think that kind of established like, oh, okay, like these guys can throw like large, like South Asian parties and it could be in a nightclub setting.
Yeah, that I was going to say, what do you, because you sort of talked about it like you wanted it to be in a nightclub, right? Like you wanted something for Indian people inside of a nightclub.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, do you grow it? Do you do it in a theater? You know what I'm saying? Could you sell 1,500 tickets and do it in a theater? But I feel like you guys are, the part of it is sort of doing it in a nightclub.
Hell yeah, man. That is like that's the goal.
Is to get bigger?
It's to get bigger. Yeah, it's to grow the party into something where maybe we don't do it once a month, but maybe we do it once a quarter, and we pull out, 2,000 brown kids that come out to like the back room or Radius or some shit. And we throw a major Indian festival, where we're just playing a bunch of like EDM tech house with Bollywood flair to it. Cause there is a subgenre that exists in the world that is like Bali tech.
Yeah.
And it's like all tech house, but Bollywood shit,
Who's leading that industry? Who's the top? Who's making the best shit?
I would say Indo, right? Indo Warehouse.
Indo Warehouse is doing so if you don't know what Indo Warehouse is two guys named Kahani and Kunal Merchant. They started this genre of like Bollywood, deep house, and tech house in a festival space. And so they're touring right now, but for Indians, that was the first couple of guys to ever put Bollywood, Indian, and festival together. And they're pulling shows that are doing like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 heads.
And we wanted to do our research on it, so I ended up flying to New York City because at that point they were doing maybe 1 or 2 shows a year. I wanted to check it out, and they have the Brooklyn Mirage, which is kind of like the Radius of New York City. John Summit was there the weekend before. Like I was still seeing like the posters like in the Mirage, and now here you have 2 Indian DJs pulling in 7,000 of people, of audiences. And it's just Bollywood tech house. Like it's like high energy. And it's just a very fun atmosphere. And we're like, wow, like these guys like really did it. Like I would not have imagined like seeing something like that until I legit saw it. And I was like sending him pictures and videos, be like, dude, like Chicago has this type of scene. Like,
yeah, what's crazy is, man, like when I say it doesn't exist in the nightclub space at all. And you're talking about almost the first or second largest population in the world.
In Chicago?
Just Indian people, right? I mean, the Indian population. I mean, shit, even in Chicago, I mean, the Indian population is a lot.
Massive, yeah.
It's a lot.
A lot of 7-Elevens.
A lot of 7-Elevens. Listen, I grew up on Devon.
So
very close.
So, yeah,
he
knows the culture.
Yep, Devon and the subways and the gas stations and the hotels.
The hotels are big. Not a lot of people know about the hotels. The 7-Elevens, the Subways, Dunkin' Donuts, those are mainstream. That's where you see them behind the counter.
Yes.
But you don't see them at the bank counting their money from those fucking hotels.
Yeah, yeah. The hotel game is crazy, bro. But yeah, man, I mean, look, being in the industry and being Indian, like we know, like, there are clubs out there you could go and party and drink and blah, blah, blah. But for some of these people, they have no fucking idea what a nightclub even looks like. And so when we did that first party, we just opened the door to just a brand new demographic, really. I mean, they're really in like circa 2015 right now. So anytime we throw a party or put a flyer up, they're eating that shit up, dude.
Yeah.
They're ready to go.
That's great, bro. I always thought like that somebody should do it. You guys should do it. But like I said before, I got to imagine there was that in the beginning, like, I don't want to do that. Like, it's almost too easy, right? Like, I don't want to be that guy. I want to be not known for being Indian. I want to be known for being a DJ. Like, I want to go be a nightclub DJ, but it's happening. I like to see it. I like it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I went through a lot of that, like, not wanting people to know that I was an Indian kid, just because even in the industry of DJs, like, we're minorities, like, you don't see too many Indian DJs. And so for us, like, for me, I'll speak from my point of view, but I didn't want people to know that. But I think now there's something beautiful here where, like, we're in a weird space industry wise and nightclub wise. And, I think there's something beautiful here where, like, now it's going to be about everybody that can make it work, and that's what this moment is going to be for people to, like, take slow season and to figure something out, because this could be this could be a long haul, of like the bottom.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I agree to that, but I think at the same time,
You disagreeing with me now, Sean? No.
Yeah. You guys got to fight a little bit.
But I think that's the beauty of actually like working with him too, is like we've been best friends since like fucking what? Like
long
since we're,
time,
like,
bro.
9 or 10 years old, right? Like
Long time.
even like in the industry, I think like we always consider ourselves like the Brown, Riz, and Polly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I could see that. I like that. You guys should do that for Halloween one year.
It's funny because I actually brought that up to him. I was like, yo, like we should totally just get the beard. And then like I was like, one of us will shave the head and just have like the black sweats all black and the chain.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's the Polly.
I'm the Polly.
He's the Polly.
Yeah.
Even like with Bollywood Nights, it's like it's funny because like I feel like sometimes he'll act like Riz, and then I'm just in the back, just like chilling,
counting the money like Polly.
Counting the money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's the money counter. Yeah,
but I think that's the other thing is like you also want to have a partner that you kind of just vibe with, right? Because like there's not many times you really see like best friends like be in business together, and then it sometimes just falls apart, right?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
I think it's good that we kind of have that balance, right? Where it's like each of us kind of brings something unique to the table, and then we kind of learn off of one another and kind of just build off that, right? Because for us, like, again, we never want to be paycheck to paycheck, right? We want to have that sustainability, whether it's through Bollywood Nights, whether it's through the weddings or through Hollybolly, right? And I think that's kind of like something you genuinely need. Otherwise, it'll be a bust really fucking quick, right? And yeah, we'll have disagreements, but it's like, we know at the end of the day what the main goal is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll always kind of figure it out. And if we have different viewpoints on something, we'll try one out. If it doesn't work, we'll try the other and just keep moving from there. Because at the end of the day, that's the common goal.
Word.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I like that. And you guys, you're close. You grew up together. You're from the same culture. So I got to imagine you live somewhat of the same lifestyle. And that helps a lot as well in having a common goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like, he's actually my neighbor. So we like literally grew up playing like basketball, baseball together. And then, we both were into music. I remember like telling him like, hey man, like I want to DJ. He's like, oh shit. Like, I've been actually doing this for a while now. Like, and this is when we were like 13 or 14, when we had those like dinky, like Denon, like controllers and like trying to figure shit out. So I think kind of growing up and then, he's kind of like an older brother where he started in the industry before I did and kind of like filling out like where to necessarily grow, who to talk to, how to necessarily play, even like opening set. Well, I remember like he was telling me like, hey, like, don't burn anyone out, make sure like you kind of have that avenue. And it's like, I feel like that bond is like really strong. And like, I appreciate him for that. Cause I know for him, I was like, what, Metro? It's probably like the guy for you. That
word.
Like,
yeah, man. For me. Yeah. So word, I appreciate that first and foremost. For me, yeah, it was Metro, man. Like Metro is the dog, I just grew up listening to him and like a lot of the B96 dudes. Yeah, I was like, it was circa 07, I think for me is when I started, 06 or something like that. Yeah, it was like when open format was becoming a thing and YouTube was just launched. I want to say like in 2008.
The Flip Side at 5, like videos. Like
yeah.
In the day.
Yeah. And I think Zach is a couple of years before us too.
Mm-hmm.
Flipside was on Ustream, I remember.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit. That's
like streaming from and radio station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flipside at 5.
Yep.
And then posting the videos like literally the same night.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like us were just like, oh shit, like, he's scratching, he's doing this, like,
yeah.
But yeah, like,
I think that's when Serato
first really became a thing.
2007, maybe.
Yeah.
I think
a little bit earlier, but
yeah, I'm not sure. I started DJing a couple years after I graduated high school, probably 2010, and Serato had already been out.
Were you using CDs before, or did you start with Serato?
I started on a Newmark controller with Serato.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did CDs.
We did CDs for like 4 or 5 years.
We would have like binders of CDs with tracks on them, and then we'd like
label it, and
we'd write the name of the songs in number order on the CD.
Sharpie each CD with like 1
Yeah,
through 10.
yeah.
You still got your booklet, your CD
I do.
booklet?
I do.
Yeah. Yep. I have 3 cases of CDs,
Mhm.
which would kind of be neat to revisit that.
Yeah.
Yeah, do CDJs even have a
That's what I was gonna
slot
say.
anymore?
They
I don't know
don't.
if they
I
don't.
don't think they make them
Yeah.
anymore.
They don't. Yeah.
Which is ironic because they're called CDJs.
Right.
Well,
But
yeah.
Not for long, actually.
No,
Alpha Theta. So.
Alpha Theta, dude, man.
There he is, Diamond Cut. Diamond Cut, actually, I'm a little upset with you. I'm going to be honest.
Why?
Because I looked at last week's episode and I look like a lesbian, and you didn't say a goddamn word to me.
There's only so much I can do in post production. I mean,
That's fucked up, man.
I got to set my my graphics game up too. Apparently, then
You need that AI shit, dude.
Yeah, a little face filter or something,
get
bro.
that Snapchat filter going, man.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah, what else is going on? What else you guys got? I mean, I also wanted to talk about your newest venture of the 16th year,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
How was that?
That was just a really awesome experience, man. You know, long story short, I played a really cool set last year. And I just wanted people to see it from a different lens, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, and a really dope tribute to my mom and dad. And that's the space that it exists in, you know?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
I mean, what that seemed like such a big thing. Like you made that so huge.
Yep.
What is next? I can't even imagine
Yep.
what could come after that.
That's the beauty of marketing, you know. Marketing is such a big thing. I guess what I wanted to do was showcase that little 2-minute recap within a bigger space, and then also leave some room for playing a main stage set. So, you know, I ended up playing one of the smallest stages at the festival, and I wanted to show that through a storyline. And now we're going to give another 10 years for a main stage set. So, and we'll do the same thing for part 2.
And in those next 10 years, you're filming.
Everything is documented.
What's everything? How does that work? Because there's no cameraman here.
There's no camera guy here.
I'm a little upset. You're going to be on the fucking main stage in 10 years. You're not even going to have footage of you on my goddamn podcast.
But that's why we have the man Diamond Cut, baby. Diamond Cut is here recording everything we need. I'm going to clip this in 10 years strategy. We're going to clip
16,
it, baby. In 16 years. Yeah, no. But no, man. Yeah, just, you know, I like to collect footage. And so, you know, I think this year, every set of mine has a video guy. And we're not necessarily doing recap videos anymore. I think we're just collecting footage. And so I'll be mic'd up now, and any conversation I have is always recorded now.
Yeah. Do
And-
you have to have people sign NDAs? Or
It just depends on like how much of their like figure that we're using. You know, if we're really it's like a long clip, and you know, in the nightclub scene it's dark, so sometimes you can't really see who it is. But yeah, I mean, you know, we'll always, before posting something, grab somebody's permission to use their face and all that. So
yeah.
And the content creation is becoming like a big thing. Like, and even like,
it's everything.
yeah. And like,
It's everything.
even a lot of bigger name DJs are like doing it. Like, I don't know if like with Jazzy Jeff, right? He works with Mo Knows Best. Shout out to Mo Knows Best. You know, he does a lot of the behind the scenes of just like what they're doing as far as anything that's going on, like Twitch or any type of like major sets, right? And he's not even using like, you know, high resolution cameras. Sometimes it's just an iPhone, but like the way that he's like picking it up, the way that he's recording, it really is a big thing. And even like I saw Steve Aoki at Tao like 3 weeks ago. Obviously he crushed his set. Heavy was opening for him, did a great job, but we also saw like his video guy. And again, just a phone, but the way that he was like stepping back but zooming in at the same time and kind of just getting all these angles. And even like during the set, Aoki was like, hey, make sure you get this, make sure you get that. And he's like a full-fledged performer, right? He'll take off his shirt, he'll get on stage, and he'll do whatever he needs to really make sure that energy is high. But then kind of seeing that back end work and then the next day being posted on his Instagram, you know, content creation is like a really big thing. And I know like he's done a great job with it, and I'm slowly learning how to do that more often. But I think that's kind of how you stay relevant now. And especially like if you want to build it to that next level, right? Like you said, like for him, it's a small stage. And like for me, I'm still building, but it's like, that's kind of like the content that you need. It's not just you can stay stagnant. You need mixes, but you need also the videos and the audio that goes behind it to see like, okay, like this guy puts in the work. Let's give him a shot to take on this next challenge, I guess. But, you know, it's definitely a big thing now.
Yeah. And you know, what's interesting is, you know, when I was making this thing, you know, there are a lot of DJs that have played bigger stages than the one that I played, you know, like there are DJs that have played, you know, Radius and opening up for Tiesto and a bigger stage at Lollapalooza or what have you. But where does the memory exist? You know, sometimes I see guys that will have a big show coming up and they'll post about it. Then they'll play the show and then that's it. It's there and it's gone. And for something that's really important to you as a DJ, you know, why not show to the world that this is some shit that you really love? And so for me, that entire documentary was a show for me that I really loved. I thought it was super dope. And I just showcased it in a way that most people don't. And now it's there forever. You know, I don't need to think about it. I mean, I could go watch it if I really wanted to, you know? And so that's all that was, you know, just taking the marketing game and making something small bigger than what it actually was. Yeah, bro. It was cool.
Yeah. I actually saw Kevin recently. He was at Liquor Box a couple Fridays ago.
Yeah. He's dope, man. Kevin is the guy. Shout out Kevin.
Is he the one filming most of your sets?
All of my shit for the last 6 years.
Really?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. He does everything. From miking me up to shooting recap videos, Instagram clips to photo shoots, what have you. So
yeah, I need to do a new headshot.
he's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need to do like a 16-day fast, I think, before.
You think?
Yeah, something like that.
That's kind of what Rockwell's doing right now.
It's
Water fast for like 10 days.
7 day, yeah. I did a 5-day and then I had to eat, but I gotta hit a 7. 7's in the next
That's
goal.
what, you know, being booed up will do that to you, Zach.
Yeah. Well, it'll make you fat is what it'll do.
For sure.
She gets a little upset when I do the fasts.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know, being in a relationship, you gotta have a little dad bod. You know, in Indian culture, having a dad bod is being considered being healthy.
Yeah.
And being like, it resonates with wealth.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
Listen, how do I convert? Is there a conversion process that I can go through?
To Hinduism?
Yeah.
To be quite honest.
Will they take me is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't think Hinduism has a conversion process really. I think it's more so just, you know, whether you want to go into that spiritual lane, I guess. You know.
Well, I want to be looked at as wealthy for being fat.
Yeah.
I want to get paid a lot of money to DJ these events.
Yeah. Maybe we could
You gotta convert your religion to that.
Maybe we could bring Zach and maybe he could drop a little Bollywood set.
Yeah, let me drop a Bollywood set. I do really want to look into the Indo warehouse that you guys were talking about, because I definitely fuck with. I mean, some of the best beats that were ever made were Indian samples. Yeah,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
Indian flute, obviously.
Yeah.
Big Pimpin', Jay-Z.
Yes.
Timbaland does a good job with that.
Timbo.
Yeah.
Like he's always kind of represented. And I think that's kind of something me and him are like talking about, right? Where, you know, we're slowly getting into the production game. He's doing it for a minute. I'm like learning Ableton like a little more day by day. But
Oh, it's coming.
what we've noticed is that, like, you know, in the past at least 3-4 years, you know, Latin music has taken by storm. Like the amount of money that I've made charging people $100 for a Bad Bunny request is like insane, because it's in such high demand.
Yeah.
Shit, where is this? Because I was doing it for free at Moe's and Wrigley.
Nah, man. I literally, like, if they give me a phone that
Bad-
says Bad Bunny, I literally I have a screenshot on my phone that says $100.
Bad Bunny's got a price attached to it.
Yeah.
now, for
So-
sure.
Yeah, they fucked that up for themselves. Y'all did that to yourselves. That's all I'm saying.
Word.
But even with the Latin music, has become so like mainstream, right? Like, how many times have we seen people that I don't speak Spanish, but you know, like, I know if I hear it, I know it's gonna be a fucking like banger at the club, right? Like, people who don't even resonate with the culture will still feel like they're part of the culture.
Good music is good music.
Yeah.
And as a DJ, whether you understand the language or not, you hear a song and you know if it's good music.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, us being two Indian brown boys, we're like, all right, like, let's see if we can try to make that mainstream, right? Whether it's Bollywood or different sections of India, that type of music, like Punjabi, South Indian, whatever. For us, we're like, all right, like, this is kind of an avenue that we can kind of now start like taking a lead on, right? Obviously, there will be different samples and so many people have done it, but let's see if we can try to take it mainstream. I think that's kind of like our next goal, right? Whether it's with weddings or Bollywood, but now it's Bollywood nights, but it's now like production wise, like, okay, what can we kind of do now to kind of bring it out there? Because similar to like very limited DJs, how many like mainstream Indian artists do you hear like in Western culture, right? Like Jay Sean was like in the early, like late 2000s. You know, now it's like what, like Nav maybe?
No, I mean, shout out AP Dillon. He's
Dillon.
he's playing Coachella this year.
Yep.
which
Brown
is-
Monday, baby.
Yeah.
Yep.
Diljit. He was that.
Diljit. Coachella too. Yeah, man.
So
Yeah. That and I don't even know if you have to necessarily go mainstream. I mean, that might be what you want, but even, you know, you said the Indo warehouse guys sold out the same theater that John Summit sold out.
yeah.
Yep.
And they're not necessarily mainstream,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? Like, you just need a good following.
Yep.
You need to make good shit, have a good following, and you're as good as any other mainstream artist.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? There's people that want to see you, that will buy tickets to your shows, that will buy your music,
Yeah.
that will follow what you're doing. That's all you need.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's the future of our Bollywood nights, is not just to Indian people. We want to open it up a little bit,
Yeah.
you know, and really get everybody in there. Yeah, man, we're excited for this year. I think
Mhm.
it's going to be super special. We're going to throw some dope Bollywood parties,
Yeah.
man. We're excited.
Hell yeah. So what you're making music, you're doing production. Are you more focused on flipping samples that no one really knows and creating music on that? Or are you taking like a classic Indian hit and turning it into a tech house track? Like, cause that's kind of what the Latin community is doing, I feel like,
Yep.
right? They're
Yeah.
taking classic tracks and turning them into club bangers.
Well, it's kind of a little bit of both, right? Like in mainstream, like how many like tracks do people really know? Like Jay-Z, right? Like Beware of the Boys, or maybe like AP Dillon's becoming more popular now, but like there aren't that many. Like for Indians, we're like, oh yeah, like we'll flip a track and we're like, oh yeah, like it's a classic track. Like for us growing up, like 90s Bollywood nostalgia or something along the lines of that. But I think it's more so of just like what sounds good, right? Because Bollywood has been around since like the 1940s, 1950s. So there's like music on music, because every Bollywood film has what, like 3, 4, 5 tracks.
Are they
Right.
all musicals?
All of them.
Yeah.
Like if it doesn't have at least 1 or 2 tracks, like with like it's like literally like 2 or 3 music videos
Right.
within the movie itself. Hence it's like 3 hours fucking long. but like because there's so much music with that, like no one has really touched it. Like people will know like the mainstreams. Like I know Maximo just came out with, you know, a Bollywood like tech house edit.
Shout out, Max.
Yeah. You know, so it's like
Wait, Max is dropping Bollywood shit?
Max just released a really, really dope fucking Shamor Bollywood flip. Yeah, he did last week or some shit like that.
Really?
It was fire. It was fire.
Yeah. So it's kind of like now, like, all right, like we love it, right? It's becoming, you know, more popular and more in demand. And with us two being Indian, we pretty much grew up watching Bollywood movies and also like other parts of India where there's different types of music that's not considered Bollywood. So for us, we're like, okay, like let's see if we can kind of change the scene up a little bit and kind of use that to our advantage and like kind of represent our culture too. So
yeah, man. You know, on the music production end of everything, I'm really open to doing anything, you know, anything that sounds good and feels good. But I've been producing for like 2 years, so I'm not all that great. I'm still getting my feet wet at just understanding the DAW and all of that. But on the music production end of things, I'm ready to go, man. I have a folder full of shit that's ready to go. And so I think this year I'm going to release some stuff. You know, I've always been somebody that sits on it. But
Pause.
He's going to clip that motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know? That's fine. I'll take the L. I'll take the L right there. I'll take that L. That's all right. Diamond Cut could, you know, toss that out. All right, buddy. Toss that one out because
I can't promise anything because Zach's the one that does that.
That's going to sit on.
So
that's the main clickbait. Right
that's going to sit on the internet forever.
That's going to be.
And, you know, like I was talking about things living in a space on the internet, that'll be a moment right there.
Just,
nice.
16 years.
Yeah, just don't wait around for those 16 years for this to go away.
Yeah. That's a wrap right there. No, that's good. But no, man, I'm gonna release some music. And I'm not gonna sit on anything anymore, man. No, I'm gonna release music, man. I'm excited. It's gonna be cool.
Do you test your stuff in the club when you're doing a set? Do you play something you made to see how it sounds in the club, to see how people react to it?
I haven't yet. Just because I don't know, man. Like I'll like bang it in my car. I'll play it, you know, in my studio speakers and all that. But in the club, I haven't yet.
You gotta definitely do that.
Yeah.
I started dabbling a little bit into it. I think this year I made about 3 or 4 edits, and I'm trying to release it. It's like a combination of like Bollywood or Punjabi with like an American like twist or like a mashup, right? So it's kind of like, even like in production, like I remember I was watching like I think J. Cole's documentary. He's listening into like piece of shit headphones to like his car to like the studio to like, you know, in a nightclub setting, because you want to make sure it sounds good, right? Especially when you want to master it, and also just kind of see what the audience is, right? Like even when you look at like comedians, right? They'll go to these smaller like comedy shows and kind of just test the waters and see how it goes, write it down if it works, if it doesn't work, and then from there they'll do it on their like Netflix show. So it's definitely something that I at least am now trying to do more of, just to kind of test the waters to see like how the reaction is.
Yeah. Are you big into comedy? You like comedy?
I am.
Who's your favorite comedian?
That's a good question. Joe Coy is definitely was like one of my top. I think like I saw his special in 2020. Definitely, you know, not his best work recently at what was it,
the Grammys or whatever.
Yeah. And then, you know, I think I know my comedy is a little bit different. Like I also like dark humor, so I listen to like Anthony Jeselnik with those like one-liners, and then even like geopolitical shit like Jon Stewart or Trevor Noah. You know, so I know who's like, I think yours is what, Justin Bieber's favorite.
I love Chris D'Elia, man. I think Chris D'Elia is, I think he's just a funny dude. I mean, there have been some other guys that have come out recently that are funny too, but Chris D'Elia has always been.
Do you ever watch his podcast?
I do.
I like his podcast more than I like his stand up.
Stand up, yeah.
But
yeah.
he's great. He's great.
Yeah, man.
He's gotten dragged. He's gotten dragged through the fucking ringer hard.
Yep. But you know what's nice is he always talks about that shit in his stand up specials. So that's kind of dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Should we get to this game? Should we spin this wheel? It's been sitting here for a while.
It's been sitting there for a while. I mean,
I think we got to pull it into the frame a little bit. Diamond Cut, how we looking?
Who's gonna answer?
That's good.
Who wants to answer the question first? You want to rock paper scissors this shit, or you want to just?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, let's give an explanation here, because you guys brought this over, right? And you came up with the questions.
Yeah.
And you said it was sort of mostly things that we wouldn't want to talk about, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, in the space of podcasting, there is always things that, you know, the watchers want to hear from us, and necessarily just being diplomatic and just not talking about certain things. But these are some of the things that we thought we really don't need to touch on for this podcast. But we have no problem doing so in this space. The Party with Strategy podcast. We're live, baby.
Yeah. Can you see? Is there a glare? Can you see the words and everything?
I should be able to on there. They look a little bit slim, but I think it's still manageable.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. All right. So who's going first?
If anything, maybe just read out whatever lands on there.
I'm definitely going to read it.
Yeah. So
I can go first. I mean,
all right.
You ready?
Yeah,
I like that. I like that. Throw yourself in the ringer. Uh-oh.
Well, yeah, let's just go. There we go. Okay.
Are younger DJs good or no?
so I think it really depends on the DJ, right? Because here's what I've noticed, and like, obviously, like you started in the industry before I did. Like, I'm still I started in 2018, 2019. I see there are DJs that are really good at their craft, but don't necessarily know how to like promote themselves. There are DJs that are really good at promoting themselves, but are like really shitty when it comes to like transitions, or they're not even using the CDJs. They're just bringing in their little controllers. And then there's DJs that are like both, right? Where I think when I started, you know, I had him, I looked up to like also people like Metro. I know Heavy was new in the industry. And also kind of like just getting the vision of how things work with like, you know, like watching you with the Strategy and Dolo show. So you kind of get a chance of seeing, okay, like what goes on in an opening DJ set. How is it you should necessarily transition? How do you necessarily crowd read? And I think now, like there are new DJs that are doing that and they're crushing it. But what I'm also seeing is, hey, I'll DJ for like $50 and I'll bring like 40 girls. But then the venue's not making any money because all they're doing is playing like hardcore EDM as if they were like at, you know, Lollapalooza or like, you know, EDC or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, I think that not even like putting in your dues, but I think having a good understanding of how the night goes, I feel like that's not really taught or it's not really seen anymore. And I feel like for some younger DJs, it's more of like, hey, I want to be like the next John Summit. So regardless if I'm playing at 10 o'clock or 1 o'clock, I'm just going to go balls to the walls. And I think that consistency and I think that like learning curve really isn't there. And it might have changed after the pandemic. Who knows what it is? But again, there are DJs that know that and are learning it. But then I feel like kind of how this new age of, hey, bring in heads. I'll do it for a very low rate and not having a good understanding of what's the difference between opening, headline, and closing. I think that learning that is not really there anymore. And I feel like that's something that I'm seeing, and I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna, and I think it's overall gonna affect the industry.
Yeah. Do you feel like if that's sort of the new norm, right? If people are not necessarily opening, headlining, closing, and they're just coming in and banging it out, is it working in the room? Is it going to shift what we used to know as opening, headlining, and closing? You know what I'm saying? Like, are the people coming in that are not following that pre-written script, are they going to now change the script, or are they going to fail?
I think it's a temporary thing.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm saying that is because we, for example, like play different rooms in the city, and then all of a sudden, like, we're not getting booked there because someone is doing it for cheaper, or someone is just like, hey, like, this guy's bringing in like 45 people. Cool, no problem. But then we'll usually get a message like 2 or 3 months later, like, hey, can you actually come and play here? Because they're seeing that, hey, like, they'll bring in people, but no one's like spending at the bar, or the music that they're playing is people are leaving the nightclub when it should be packed. It's only 40 or 50% there. So I think it's kind of like, it's a phase, and I think it will play itself out, because with every aspect of a night, you need to make sure that the music is good and you're kind of playing for that crowd. You know, I wouldn't want to walk into a nightclub at like 9:45 and I'm trying to grab a drink and I'm hearing like heavy high EDM as if it was like 1:30 a.m. at a Steve Aoki shit. Like,
yeah.
I think it's definitely going to like level itself out. And I think it's also going to be a learning curve for a lot of the DJs. So I'm not even necessarily mad at any of the younger DJs. And, you know, you're trying to figure it out, right? But I think it's like, once people learn that, I think people are really going to kind of change who they are as a DJ and really have a good understanding of how a proper night goes. So I think it will like balance itself out, right? There's highs and lows. Like, I think that was kind of the biggest thing we've talked about today is like, in the industry, there's going to be the highest peaks and there's going to be the lowest falls. So it's always going to kind of be like that roller coaster to kind of balance it out.
Respect.
Word.
I like it. Do you want to add anything, or should we spin the wheel?
No, that was good, man. That was on the money.
Yeah,
I'm ready for the wheel.
I like that. I like that. All right, let's get it. Should you bring heads to the venue? So I feel like that's asking like shallowly, yes, of course you should bring heads to the venue if you can. Why not? You know, but I think it's more so asking like, should you be booked for a night strictly based off of how many people you're bringing, rather than your ability to play the right music, hold a room, read a crowd, blah, blah, blah.
So if that gets added to my responsibility, I feel like, I don't want to be arrogant, but I feel like my price will go up, you know, and I'm just going to be honest there. Like, you know, sometimes you recognize that like good DJing goes a long way in the club. And with that responsibility, if you're asking me to bring 10, 20 people, followers of mine that I'm like on a weekly basis trying to bring out to the club, I feel like the rate will just spike a little bit. But like, you know, on the regular, like, I feel like I'm always asking people if they want to join a guest list anyway, you know, without the venue having to tell me anything really.
Right.
But if it ever gets to a point where it becomes mandatory, where like you're only going to be booked if you bring this many heads, I'll pass.
Yeah, I feel that. And the venue should know you well enough and what you do, and see you and your social media and how you handle it and how you post and how you promote and all that. And, you know, they see you're asking for people to get on their guest list. They see you're promoting. They see this and that. They know you're a good DJ. Like, it shouldn't even be a question.
Yeah. No, I as soon as it steps into the space of like, we don't care how you DJ and like we just need this club to be packed, I guess. I think that's when I would probably take a step down.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the space you want to be in, right? You want to be able to tell anybody no.
Yep.
You know, for a long time you're a young DJ, hungry as fuck, take any gig.
Yes.
I'll do anything, but you want to be able to build to a place where you can get a booking and then they're asking too much of you and they're not showing you respect and this and that and blah blah blah, and you can just say, you know what, like, get someone else.
Yeah, and I think that's when your value and your brand goes up.
100%.
You know, I feel like people end up respecting that tenfolds more than if you were to take everything that came your way. And so sometimes you have to make those decisions. You know, do you want people to respect your brand and value? And if so, sometimes you got to give them that no, you know? So
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the coffin. I think the only thing I would add is that if it's going to be such a big deal to bring in like 30 guests, you know, I think there's more importance where if you're DJing and your craft and knowing how the room is, if that ends up allowing the guests already there to, hey, let's pop another bottle because we're having a good time, I think that's definitely more of a one up for your brand, but also it's good for the venue too, right? Just because you need to bring in 30 people doesn't necessarily mean the money will always come in because of those 30 people.
Right.
I would rather have 30 less people, but make sure that I put on a show that causes people to buy more at the bar, causes more bottles to come out, where the venue's also making money too, right? Like good DJing sells not just for brands, but also for the venue itself. Because I think that will definitely be more of a pretty much positive thing for every person in that section versus just, hey, like we mainly care about you just bringing people. Because I feel like good DJing will sell more for the venue and for the DJ itself.
Always.
Yeah, that's all facts.
And that's why you have promoters too, you know, like promoters, you know, they also have a job to do, you know, and it's like, you know, you don't need to mix and match certain things. That's like me telling a promoter, hey, you want to hop on the decks for a little bit and
not many would
get this crowd going.
Maybe like Polly and Riz would probably do it. But like outside of that, I don't know like which other DJ would like.
Yeah.
Or which other promoter would go up there.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane. You should have your venue should hire the people that are best at doing exactly what they do. And the promoter shouldn't need help from the DJ. The DJ shouldn't need help from the promoter.
Yep. Yeah. And we know what, you know, you see those venues, right? The ones that are thriving and are doing well is because everyone's got a job to do and they do it well.
You gotta trust the process and gotta trust everyone has that common goal.
That makes sense. All right, you guys got some easy questions. I feel like mine's gonna be one of the ones where I have to shit on someone, and I'm kind of excited for it. Okay. have I been kicked out of a venue? I have.
Okay, here we go. All right.
Shay. Me and Dolo got thrown out of Shay. It was Halloween. We were in the DJ booth. DJ Speed was DJing.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I know I say that name and you think that this was in like 1995, but it was like 2016.
Speed was still nice.
Sorry, Speed. But yeah, we were having fun. And for some reason they were like, yo, get out of the DJ booth. And we were like, no, this is the homie. And Speed was like, yeah, they're good. And they were just like, it was some fucking security guard that was like, nah, you got to get out. And this was Shay, right? So it was late night. Me and Dolo had already played somewhere. I don't know where we played. We were already drunk. It was Halloween. I'm in a fucking robe. I'm fucking hammered out of my mind. And we were just like, no, fuck you.
This is during the prime of Send Nudes?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Maybe the beginning even. 2016 is really when it all started, and it was somewhere around there. I think it was all bubbling up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I had a little bit of a little bit of ego inside of me, and I was like, "Nah, fuck you. Like, we belong in this DJ booth. Who the fuck are you?" You know? And then they just threw us out, and I pulled my phone out and I started recording the guy.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it was good times.
All right,
It was funny.
nice. Have you been kicked out of a club before?
I have. This was when I was first in the industry. This was a Bull and Bear Sundays, Industry Sundays.
Wow, I didn't know this.
Yeah, he was playing, and
Oh shit!
I was like brand new to the industry. I was like trying to like meet people, and I got very excited, and I ended up taking the bottle from the DJ booth, and I ended up walking to the bar, like not knowingly, like I was just drunk.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like, I wanted, I think it was like, me and Riz always do like Jaeger bombs. I think I was trying to get a Jaeger bomb or something like that. And I just unknowingly took the bottle with me. And all of a sudden, I'm just getting like, I wouldn't say dragged out, but they like grab me from behind and they're like, yo, like, give us the bottle. And then like, they just like kicked me out. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And then I didn't realize it until the next morning where I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I can't do that in the industry where I can just walk around with a bottle as if it's like, but I think, yeah, that was kind of, that was like, I think like the second or third night, like I was introduced. I texted him like, yo, my bad, man. I didn't mean to make you look bad. Like that wasn't my intention.
Yeah. R.I.P. to Bull and Bear too.
Bull and Bear Sundays, bro.
Oh yeah.
The best.
Mm-hmm. What about you, man?
Me? Yeah, I have been. I don't know. It was like we were at Public House. Me and Nick Rockwell got kicked out at the same time because they thought we were fighting in there.
I remember this.
And I think he was hanging out with like Jersey and Steve. And I think we both share the same like birthday month or some shit like that. Like either I have the same birthday as he does, or it's like a week apart. But we had saw each other at Public House. I had just walked in, and in excitement, Nick Rockwell picked me up and threw me over his shoulder, and then body slammed my ass on the ground.
Didn't he like fall though?
Yeah, he threw me over his shoulder, and then he lost his balance, in which he fell frontwards. So it looked like he body slammed me to the floor, and then he fell on top of me.
Ooh.
And everybody thought there was a brawl. And me and him are laughing at each other like, what the fuck is going on? And we're both being escorted out. And it's cold out there, like no jackets, no nothing. So we're standing outside, and I'm like, what do we? So me and him, we literally went to another bar, and we just, like we got kicked out.
Weren't you bleeding, or he was bleeding or something?
Yeah, he was. Somebody cut their leg or arm or something. So it looked like a bad situation, but it was all right.
I remember that.
It was a funny moment for sure.
That's hilarious. I got to get Nick Rockwell on here. Actually, he's a funny guy.
He's a funny dude, bro. He's a good guy. Funny dude. Yeah.
That's something I learned about him. He's really into Bollywood.
He is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very unexpected. Like the first time I met him, I think it was in Cancun. He was DJing in Cancun, I think in 2019. And he's like asking me about all these like Bollywood movies. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, are you Indian? He's like, fuck no. And I'm like, oh shit. Like it just threw me off guard.
Well, he grew up on, I want to say Devon and Rockwell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why his name's Nick Rockwell.
Yeah.
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 So he was probably fucking, at those movie stores, at those music stores and shit.
Pirated CDs that you can get for like,
yeah, bro.
Makes sense. Okay.
That's awesome. All right, I dodged a bullet. You ready?
Let's do it.
Are Chicago DJs better than other DJs from other cities?
Great question. I think when it comes to technicality and versatility, I think Chicago definitely hits that market because, and I think this started like back in like 2012 or 2013. It was like a DJ City YouTube video, right? You had like Boy Genius, you had Mad Jazz, you had Flipside, like
yeah, it was that y'all can't mess with Chicago.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
That's the one, right?
Yeah.
And you saw the technicality of the scratching and all that, and then even now when you see that, like, I know you scratch a lot when you're like either entering a track or like taking it out. Metro does a good job with that. So when it comes to the technicality aspect, I think Chicago does it really, really well compared to other cities. And then even when it comes to like versatility, right? You have individuals that can read a room and then can kind of go in any specific direction, like that open format slot, right? Like, you know, Heavy does that, Metro does that, you know, Sean Mack does that really well, right? Like he always promotes himself in a very high standard, like whether it's Latin music or whatever culture it is. So I think when it comes to versatility and technicality, I think Chicago is definitely up there, and definitely on the map. Now, obviously you have like other DJs when it comes to like showmanship. Chicago's up there, but they also compete in the likes of people in Vegas, or let's say people in like Miami, right? So there definitely more competition with other cities in that. And I think also just scope of music is different. Like West Coast DJs, like you'll see like these Jazzy Jeff pool parties, or you'll see like people like Five or like Jay Espinoza, like their whole style of DJing is so different too, right? Like, so I think when you look at how Chicago is on the map, it really depends on what aspect of DJing. You can't just be like, oh, like Chicago DJs are the worst or the best, because when it comes to technicality or versatility, I feel Chicago is definitely up there. But when it comes to, let's say, like being an overall entertainer, or when it comes to some of the more creative aspects, Chicago's up there, but they definitely do compete with other cities too.
Yeah. Very political. I like it.
Yeah. Not trying to be political in any way, but that's just my viewpoint on it.
I mean, political in the way of, you know, not going, we're not better than anyone.
Yeah. Diplomatic, baby.
Diplomatic is what I meant. Yeah, it's better.
Diplomatic. For me, I think, yeah, man, I think we have some of the best cats in the city, like hands down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just think we're conditioned, man. We're fucking conditioned, dude. Like, you know, and that doesn't go to say like other cities are not conditioned, but like, you know, from a city perspective, like, I just feel like we're on our shit, dude. Like, you know, all DJs are conditioned in this city to like, you gotta start and respect some of your older guys. You gotta pay your dues. You gotta open correctly. And then you have to have a good blend of being a good crowd reader and being being somewhat technical, but that's not all where it needs to exist. And then being a good networker. I think that's the third thing, is like, you know, just knowing how to shake hands and being a dope community. And I know in Chicago we did DJ meetups frequently. It's been a while since we've had one, but you know, I feel like from a community standpoint, we communicate a little bit. And again, not to say that other cities don't, but I feel like we really started that DJ meetup thing. And so, yeah, man, I mean, wow, that's pretty good. An hour and 27 minutes, huh?
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. I was going to say that whenever I've gone to a different city to DJ, somebody once told me that the 100% that you put into your own city is only going to be 65% of what you're going to showcase somewhere else. And you know, because like you always go to a different city and you always want to put on the best show, right? You want to put your 100% in. But I came to realize that what the openers were doing, or even sometimes headliners that I would listen to, I just feel like Chicago DJs, man, are just like, we're out here, bro. We're out here, we're working, we're putting some hours in, and I feel like if you were to take a couple of guys from our city and put them up there, I feel like we'd be able to compete pretty well. So,
yeah, I agree. But I'll put it like this.
Yeah.
Fuck all you other DJs. We are the club commanders. No, I'm kidding.
I got a curveball for you though, and this is actually for my first question. The last 5 years we've seen these DJs. Do you feel like it's going to still remain consistent of Chicago like being on the map?
That's a good question. That's a good question. No, I feel like the opening DJs now would never be able to beat me when I was opening. That's for sure. That's 100%. You could clip that all you want.
I will.
Yeah, clip that. Because I'll tell you this, man, when I got into the industry, like there was pressure to fucking put on a good opening set. And if you didn't, your ass is not booked anywhere else. And it was like, there were two things: opening and then playing industry Sundays at Bull and Bear, Public House. Mm-hmm. Even when Bottled was, it's like all the industry heads in one place listening to you, and you couldn't afford to throw a bad set. Mm-hmm. It was just not there. And there are some older guys that would, stand on top of your head and make sure that you're opening properly. And if you didn't, and there were too many drinks in, you'd fucking hear that shit, or you'd see some shit on Facebook or something,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, shouts to Jesse Seeley.
Yeah, Jesse Seeley, man. I love Jesse Seeley. I think, where is he at right now?
He's in Houston. I left and he arrived.
He's in Houston. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, Jesse Seeley. I've had good times with Jesse Seeley. For sure.
He's a fun time. He used to be. Now he's fucking lame. No, I'm kidding.
Is he booed up?
He's booed up. I think he's gotten a better handle on his life, which is definitely for the best. But I do miss those drunken Facebook posts.
Yeah. For sure. I walked into Jesse Seeley's set one night, because me and him had swapped chargers. He had my charger and I had his. And I had walked into Shea. That's next to Y Bar, right? Or was that Y Bar?
No, Shea is what Electric Hotel is now, which is next to Y Bar, right? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I had walked in there. Now this is when Danny Vargas was the GM.
Yeah, it was definitely Shea.
And Jesse thought, I went to go pick up my charger. Jesse thought that I was the next DJ up. And Jesse was blacked the fuck out.
No. Jesse? He blacked out?
Jesse was drunk.
No way.
Yes way. Jesse was drunk. And I know that's hard to believe for some watchers out there. But no, I walked in to pick up my charger. I didn't have a DJ bag or nothing with me. And Jesse thought that I was the next DJ up. So being Jesse, I get in the DJ booth and he sees me and he just rips the USB straight out. No echo out, no fucking mic, nothing. Just USB straight out of the laptop. Laptop went in the bag and this guy was on his way home.
Classic.
Packed club, after hours, nobody in the DJ booth.
Classic.
And it was just me holding the charger. And Danny Vargas comes in the DJ booth and says, "Who the fuck are you?" And I'm like, and I just looked down for like a second and Jesse was gone. And he was like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Bro, I just came to get a charger. I just saw Jesse." He's like, and like, imagine this situation, dude. It was really awkward. But yeah.
That's awesome. What a great Jesse story. I love that.
Yeah, I think they put on like the house sound or something. That was the rest of the night. It was just house sound. So,
that's solid.
That's a solid Jesse story for sure.
Yeah, classic. He's definitely unplugged and left before he's supposed to many a times.
Love it.
All right.
Okay. Who is this on?
I think it's you now, right?
We already did that.
Yeah, we gotta.
We did that, right? So we could just
Do the next one.
What's the next one?
Third time's a charm, baby.
What's the next one over? We did that. We
Oh.
did that. The opener DJ. We kind of spoke on that, right? Girls in the DJ booth. Yes or no, man? Is it on me?
I think so.
It's on you.
You know, so girls in the DJ booth. Yes and no. Yes or no. Shit. If I were to pick one, I would say no. Okay. But that doesn't mean there cannot be a healthy balance. I was DJing at a venue 2 weeks ago, and I had a female
Oh God, I remember this story.
come into the DJ booth, and underneath the turntables is an empty space. It's like you could put your coats and your bags and all that. And she ended up coming into the DJ booth, tripping over her own foot, and head first into the divot underneath my turntables. And it's just not the space for anybody, not just women. It's not the space for anybody. There is a boundary there. Let's just say that. There is a safe space where you just don't want to cross. And so for anybody that's not a DJ, or we get it, you guys want to be up there and take selfies and videos, and that's cool. But in the space of the DJ workspace, I think that's just a no-go. But ladies, you know, if you guys want to be up there and look cute and celebrate, you know, we're cool with that, as long as it's just not in our workplace, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I like that. I personally like anybody in my DJ booth who has respect for what I'm doing, is not bothering me, and is having a good time. You must be having a good time. We are this center of energy. We are creating the party from the space that we're in.
Word.
And if you're up there not having fun, it's going to reflect back on the crowd that's looking up there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What do you do if you have girls up there that are not having a good time? What is the outcome of that?
it depends what they're doing. But I'll usually be like, you got to dance, you got to have fun, you got to get off your phone, you got to stop complaining, you got to leave. Like,
Or you got to leave.
Yeah. Usually security is there too. So even if you don't want someone there, you'd be like, yo, just, you don't even have to deal with it. Just be like, hey man, can you just get this girl out or whatever?
yeah.
Do you think, though, telling a group of girls to leave the DJ booth kind of ruins the vibe for those next 10 minutes?
In the entire club or just for you?
Just for you.
No, I mean, it could if it, if I'm mad, if they made me mad, and then I gotta, let it pass.
If it
Sure.
escalates, yeah, a little bit.
I think I would just use that as motivation. Like sometimes, like it doesn't even have to be girls. It could be something completely stupid that can happen. And at that point, I'm like, all right, like fuck this. Like I'm fucking going in, right? It could be from a promoter coming up to girls in the DJ booth to even like when I was scratching like the other day at a venue and the CDJ like not paused, but it like
It
held on
sticks.
for like
Yeah.
it sticks, right? And then all of a sudden, like the blend that I wanted to do, it was off, right? So at that point, it's kind of like, all right, like fuck this. I'm here to have a good time. I'm here to make sure everyone else has a good time. Let's just fucking use this as motivation. It's kind of like Michael Jordan Last Dance, right? I'll come up with whatever scenario to kind of make sure that I'm gonna keep going that night and kind of not let it ruin my night and not let it affect the night itself.
Yeah.
But like that doesn't mean that girls can't be up there. Girls, we like you in the DJ booth. It's a good look too. The DJ booth looks a little bit more packed. The party seems more fun, and you know, photos come out good, video clips come out great.
It's all about balance. Like I've seen Vice at Prism where he has like the garters around him. So no one's like in his like vicinity, but there's still girls and everywhere around. And then the vice versa where I've seen you with like a girl on your shoulders and you're still scratching a beat in. I'm like, okay, as long as the vibe is good, and no one's like fucking touching like the CDJs or causing some bullshit. And people are having
that was the old Zach.
That was the old me.
Zach.
That is a party trick that I missed though. I wish that I might have to start putting dudes on my shoulders or something. Like lightweight dudes, small men.
Diamond cuts on top.
I don't know. He's clipping. He's clipping over there. I mean, yeah, we could see how that goes.
Something that I do miss that like that aspect of because that's the type of shit for me that really got the party going. That is one way to start the ball rolling of fun, because sometimes you're in a place and it's early or people haven't been drinking enough or the party's just not starting yet, and I want to jumpstart it.
Yeah.
So putting a girl on your shoulders and fucking scratching and pouring tequila in her mouth and people seeing that, that radiates fun, and that is contagious.
Don't you think, Zach, though, that what you used to do is desperately needed now?
Yeah, fun is needed. Fun is highly needed.
So what are we doing to get that back? What do you think?
I personally think that the new wave is going to be spots like Goodnight John Boy, because that is all rooted in fun. They have a dance floor.
Yep.
Not a lot of places have a dance floor. They have a fucking dance floor. They also have tables around the dance floor, but they have a nice dance floor. And they're playing music that is nostalgic, that is sing along. They're playing music that is fun music.
Yeah.
And like, to me, that's just the entire vibe inside of that place. And I think a lot of people, you know, especially from the places that I've talked to thus far, a lot of the new spots are like, you know, we want fun music, we want sing along music, we want old school, we
disco
want some
funk.
rock, we want disco. And they're what they're saying really is we want to be like John Boy, but they won't fucking say it. Because I'll say it. I'll be like, yeah, you know, like Goodnight John Boy, right? And they're like, well, yeah, we've been doing that for a while, you know, but like, yeah, like that. And I'm like, just fucking say it.
Yeah.
Admit it.
Shout out Dante, man. It's a fun spot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's a fun spot.
Yeah.
It's that wedding shit that goes off there.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And
it's that shit that corny shit to me is corny and or was corny for a long time.
And I know you didn't really
fuck with it.
You didn't do corny shit a lot.
Never.
Yeah, I remember.
Never. I hate it. It would make me shrink. It would make me in the DJ booth. I don't have the confidence to back a track like that. And if you don't have the confidence to do it, that shit shows. You're not going to be able to sell that track to the people that you're playing it to, as well as somebody who's playing it with, this is my shit.
Yep.
Vibe with me to my shit.
Yep.
I'm up there like, God damn it, I don't want to play this, you know?
But I'm kind of glad that places like this are existing now in Chicago, because I feel like that's where, as well conditioned as we are, like the Bay Area DJs, for example, like those guys, their bags are so, like their libraries are deep,
stacked,
and they could play all of this stuff on like any given night. It could be a Thursday, it could be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Those Bay Area demographics go off to this shit too. So I feel like that's
it's crazy. Like the crates that these Cali DJs have. Like, I mean, we've seen Miles Medina, Jay Espinoza, like even Four Colors Zach, and me and him every single time. We're like, holy fuck! Like,
those are some cool dudes.
The music that they play, the blends they do is like, it's just insane, right? So
cool dudes.
Yeah,
man.
All right. Should we do one last one?
One last one. Do we just want to pick it?
Yeah. Which one do you want to do?
Is this on you, Zach?
Yeah, it's on me. And then, you know, if you guys want
which other ones are left?
Add something to it.
Well, we have the worst venue ever played. That's up there. Chicago Top 5 DJs is up there. And I think that's it, really. Yeah, those are the two left.
Which one you guys want me to do?
You pick, bro.
Yeah, man.
You pick.
No, you pick for me.
Yeah, let's talk about the worst venue you have ever played at.
All right.
You know, we were going to do Chicago top 5 DJs. Then we were also going to do Chicago top 5 worst DJs.
Top 5 worst DJs?
That's a hard question to answer.
That's a hard one because I don't even know if I've heard
a DJ bad enough. Yeah, I don't think I've heard a DJ bad enough. I think that's why we didn't do that.
Yeah, they don't really last long. You don't see them much.
Yes.
I think it's also those out of Chicago guys that sometimes you would be like, what the hell? Like, you know, it's artist DJs sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, where you'll have an artist. I think it was like,
yeah.
I think we both like
artist DJs.
Yeah, it was a Joy District. It was one of the artist DJs. And it got to the point where like he was about to go on, but he's like, hey man, like how do I connect my Serato? I'm like, what are you talking about, bro?
Yeah, like that shit pisses me off,
Yeah.
bro. You're coming in and you're in my line of work. You're taking money off of my fucking plate
Mhm.
in some way, and you can't even set your shit up.
Yeah.
Go home.
Yeah. And then even when it is set up like red line, like gains are high, masters at like 4:00.
Yeah.
And like just screaming on the mic. And
Yeah. It gets ugly out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the worst venue I've ever played at in Chicago or no?
It could be anything. Yeah, we could keep it.
It's Bottle Blonde Houston.
Bottle
Really?
Blonde Houston.
Oh yeah. Easy.
And why is that?
There, you know, and in the beginning it was fine and there was high hopes and it had that Bottle Blonde feel. You walk in there and it's like, oh, this is fun. This is nice. I want to drink. I want to join the fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a short period of time, it just became depressing and like nobody in there wants to be there. And it's like not a party. Like I would walk in there on Friday nights at 9:45 and my entire mood would just drop.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is
Very interesting
terrible.
because you would crush Chicago Bottle Blonde.
I love that place. That was one of the greatest, most fun places you could be.
Wow.
Houston was not that.
Yeah.
And I think it was a combination of a lot of things, but
Oh.
just all in all, it was soul sucking. And not the good kind, not the Roddy Rich kind.
Okay. I think for me, so I lived in Baltimore for a year. So I played it was a really weird concept. This was like when I was still like 22 or 23. It was like 2 venues. There were separate venues, but at the end of the hall or the very back of the venues, there's no wall. So you can kind of just walk in from one venue to the other. It was like the horse you rat on, you came in on, and the horse you went off of, or some like name like that, some weird concept. And it was just so weird because like the DJ booths were like pretty close to each other, and the wall was so big. And one of the one on the left was playing all country like rock music, and then I'm playing like hip hop. So it was like to the point where I'm like, dude, like I'm hearing his transitions.
Ugh.
So I'm like, all right, like if I can hear it with a monitor, like imagine what everyone else is hearing like in the DJ booth.
Yeah.
So like the vibe itself was so off because it's just like it's a cool concept if you have like multiple rooms, right? But it's like don't put like the DJ booths next to each other or like close enough where you can hear the other side, because at that point like he's fucking with my set, I'm fucking with his set, and it's like, you know, you just want to keep that etiquette, but then it just ruins the whole fucking night because you're just not in that sense of like, yo, like let's have a good time. Because the last thing I want to do is, you know, I'm playing my shit and then I'm hearing something at a completely different BPM, and the DJ was also botching it too.
Yeah.
So now I'm not hearing just one other BPM, I'm hearing 2 separate BPMs. Like it just was a nightmare. But
That sounds
I think
terrible.
that was like probably my worst like situation.
For me, it was Cuvée.
Cuvée, I DJ'd at once and it wasn't great.
Yeah.
Even just being in there was
I fucking hated that place, man.
yeah.
It was like management was weird. They wouldn't let nobody in. The DJ booth was weird. It was just all over the place.
Yeah.
The layout was weird. Music curation was like all over the place. It was like that meme I think you posted, like, hey, we're gonna go in a different direction, don't play any hip-hop. Then like the week after, they'd book like fucking some mainstream hip-hop artist.
The Baby.
And like when I saw the meme, I was like, this is fucking Cuvée.
Yeah, I feel that. I can relate.
Yeah.
All right, well, I gotta piss bad. I gotta piss bad. I did hold it for the last hour 40.
You said it was gonna come.
Yeah, and I'm gonna come later when my girl gets home.
All
but
right.
thank you guys for coming.
We appreciate it, dude.
You, bro.
Party with Strategy podcast. Tune in every Monday.
It drops every Monday. Patreon episode on Thursday.
Bet.
Subscribe, guys.
Yeah, definitely make sure you subscribe to the channel. Drop a little comment if you're on YouTube. Like the video. Algorithm activating activity. That's what we like to see over here. Of course, available Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff. If you guys got anything you want to promote, go ahead. Diamond Cut will put your guys' Instagram handles in the beginning. All that good stuff.
Yeah, man, just tune in. 2024, let's have a good time. Let's, curate some dope parties. Of course, Bollywood Night is open for anybody that wants to come. And my name is Shaw, man. You could catch me in Chicago, just playing at some cool venues here. And then, I'm in cities like Indianapolis, Mohegan Sun, Boston, and all that good shit coming up. But yeah, man, Zach, thank you for having us. This is super dope, and I wish you well, bro.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you putting us on, man. My handle is DJ Sean Tucker, SEANTUCKER. I know we're kind of like at the bottom of the ocean right now, but really excited to kind of see like how everyone's kind of grow and really take 2024 by storm. So, really excited, coming out with a new mix soon, coming out with some new like Bollywood like house like mashups. So really excited for that. And then if you guys want to follow us on our journey from, the private event side, Hollybolly Unlimited is our name. You can find us on Instagram, find us on our website, and so let's have a good time.
Hell yeah. Let's get it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Well, all right. Battle raps cause I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, cause the ice on which they skating is so thin. That's what I love about the human soul. It'll usually show when the truth ain't told. Use a lie.